Hey everybody, welcome back. So you are looking at a 24 by 48 piece on my easel right now. This is an old painting that I am going to turn into a new painting. So stay tuned, watch how a tree evolves. So you can see me drawing in the rough shape of a tree. I'm pulling it from my memory, really just looking for the silhouetted shape, and I've drawn her in a soft piece of vine charcoal. Now I'm thinking about creating that little value jump between the silhouette of the tree and the background or the previous painting that was there. So I'm using my limited color palette, the same one that I've been using for the last few months, and I'm just starting to block in the shape of the tree. And a lot of the marks are transparent, so they reflect the layers and the color that sit underneath as well. There's a really nice interplay or exchange happening between the two pieces right now. I've redrawn the shape, made some intricate details or more interesting details in the larger forms. And now I'm going in and I'm really pushing my values, creating interest inside the shape of the tree, and paying attention to the edges where the negative space butts up to the tree shape, and putting smaller marks in there to help soften the transition between the two. Also throwing some branches into those larger negative shaped spaces, and just really thinking about the energy of this particular tree. Okay, so here we are looking at this tree piece, and I'm pretty happy with where she's at right now. You'll notice that I have some chalk marks on her. Hopefully you can see the chalk lines that I put on there. Those were just some thoughts that I committed to the surface on Friday when I stopped painting. So I haven't worked on her for a couple of days, and I actually haven't even really looked at her until today. So the marks that I was making were notes in response to where I wanted to pick up today, so that it was almost like a continuation of the momentum that she had gathered during last week. Specifically, what I am looking at is the pattern of the negative and the positive shape, and creating visual interest. I want her to be rewarding to look at from across the room as well as up close. Now, I have engaged or brought some new techniques or differences to this tree that weren't in other ones. I'm breaking into the silhouetted form with some detail relevant to the tree's actual shape, instead of allowing it to just be a shadow or a fog of color. And I also have decided that I'm going to invite in some of these. There's a lot of circular like drip sort of marks in the negative space of the painting that are leftovers from the previous painting that was here. And I really like those, and I want to carry hints of those into the tree herself in some way. So I've chalked a few out just to see how they look, and place them, trying to keep a sense of variety and randomness, but also honoring some of the mark making that's already here. For instance, like this spot is already here in the form of a brush mark that I want to preserve. It was just sort of an unintentional thing. So another thing that I had thought I wanted to do from a design point was that this side felt too open and unbalanced, and I was thinking that this truncated or broken limb here could become some bare branches moving upward. However, after some thought, I'm going to remove those lines, and I'm going to leave that space as an open space. And I'm doing that because the last couple of days, as I have walked about and sought out trees with a history or character to them, I realize that there's a lot of spaces like this. There's a lot of areas where the tree has been impacted by something in its life, and it's not perfectly balanced. And so that feels like it's a really important aspect of these trees that I'm painting, that they are representative of a lifetime of experiences. And so that pink to orange space feels particularly relevant right now. So I will be removing those chalk lines. But settle in, and here we go. I'm going to do some painting for you. And now you get to see mostly my backside as I work on smaller, finer marks here, and really building rewards for the viewer when they get in up close to the piece. I'm also finessing the glow from behind the tree, really making sure that that is accurately predicted and really satisfying with regards to the tiniest, most nuanced shifts of color inside those spaces. And you'll be able to see when I zoom in to the piece at the very end of this video what those areas look like in greater detail. I'm also mixing on a paper plate because I'm using a large brush and I don't want to destroy the quadrant system established on my palette. When you see me squeezing product from a bottle, that's going to be some sort of acrylic medium. In this case, I was mixing that really drippy, runny, amber colored glaze that I've just washed in across the tree. Okay, I think she's pretty well done. I could continue to make a lot of marks, not a lot of marks, but I could continue to make marks, but I feel like she's going to get tighter as I do that, and I'm going to lose some of, I'm going to lose the spontaneous feel that the piece has. So right now I think she also has to dry. This glaze that I put on here is going to dry a little bit darker and hopefully have some transparency to it, but it's still too wet for me to be able to read that. And I may put a glaze of darkness in here just to really make the values pop a bit more, but I'm going to wait until the whole surface is dry before I make that decision. The other thing that I'm encountering here is that there is a difference in sheen between the marks. Some of them have a really matte, have dried to a matte surface, and some of them are really shiny. And so it's hard for me to get a total read off of the surface as to my actual values. So I also think I'm going to have to, after this earthy yellow dries, I'm going to have to coat the whole surface with something to even out its reflective quality and really get a good solid read on what comes next, if anything. But hold on and I'll bring you in up close. Because of her size, it's a little rough for me to get in close and show you the whole thing. So I want to start by, the glare from that window. I'm going to start by giving you a distance perspective. I am about 8 feet from the easel. Again, this piece is 44 inches high. And how about if we start out up at the top? So this, right now you can definitely see the issues I'm having with the sheen or the glare. The blues and purples in the background are pretty reflective. And so as such, it's hard to really read the greens on the front. But here is a great passage where you can see the interplay of the circles. The ones in the blue space were there on the previous painting. The ones in the tree I just added. So it's important, I want my marks to feel spontaneous and unplanned, but there also needs to be a cohesion to them. I got the idea to put these drips in an earlier stage of the painting where a lot of that gold was visible, and I got to thinking about Richard Schmid's work and also Hollis Heikamer, and the energy that even their unfinished brush marks carry. And so I thought that would be a nice sort of alternative mark that played off of the drapery or the draping branches, but also the history of the mark making in the tree itself. I'm also pretty happy that I left that pink space open. If I had filled it, it would have gotten too busy between the orange drippy marks and additional line work in that green space. I feel like that emptiness is needed for the piece to be fully appreciated. So I think her title is either going to be Proud or Pride. This is an acrylic on panel, 24 inches wide by 48 high. The latest in these tree paintings. I find it very intriguing. Ha ha ha. Bad pun, I know. I find it very interesting how they're evolving. Thanks for watching.